Hey everyone, happy college football. Welcome to Porcelain Picks. I'm your host, Andrew Fabian. I want to wish everyone a happy Friday today. Hope you had a great week at work. Hopefully you jumped on top of the Maction picks. Joey Mack coming through for us yet again with the midweek Maction. Joe goes 2 wins, 0 losses, and 1 push, and that's stemming from a 3-0 week 10. Thank you to Joey Mack for bringing the locks to the people, all right? Because we at Porcelain Picks, we're focused around bringing you the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. So far this season, we've done that. We're 105, 82, and 3 as far as a season record for you. So we're going to keep bringing these locks the final 2 weeks of the season. We're going to bring that through bowl season. We're going to bring that through the Army-Navy game, and then we'll continue next year with a new and improved platform, bringing you the picks that you desire. Let's jump into Week 11 action. We have 18 picks to go through today. The SEC is going to be a little bit vacant here because they're playing their cupcake schedule in Week 11. I'm not sure why they do this. I hate it. Fans hate it. But there is one big SEC matchup that we'll be talking about a little bit later, all right? Let's jump into the noon slate. So we've got Rutgers traveling to Penn State. James Franklin coming off his first stinker of the week. Let's see if he can bounce back from that with his play calling. Rutgers coming up with a goose egg last week. These guys got shut out by Iowa. I fully expect Rutgers to bounce back a bit. I think it's going to be a tough spot for Penn State as a 20.5-point favorite coming back home to play in front of their crowd after that defeat at the hands of Michigan. They got beaten into submission in the second half with the run game. I think this is a letdown spot for Penn State. I don't see them losing to Rutgers. I think they're going to win on senior day in front of their fans. They've got a lot of guys who are going to be moving on to the NFL, both juniors and seniors. So I think they'll come through with a victory in this game, but I see it being a little bit sluggish. Maybe a 27-10 type game. Take Rutgers plus 20.5 to cover. Lock it. Flush it. All right, staying in the Big Ten, we've got Michigan with all the scandal surrounding them with Harbaugh's interviews and all that stuff. They come into Maryland this week as a 19.5-point favorite. Michigan showed you their run game and what it can do when they just poured it on Penn State in the game last week. Maryland's offense has been sluggish lately. Talia Tungavailoa has not been showing up the way he was earlier in the season as Maryland's been on a slide. I think Jim Harbaugh's absence is not going to matter too much. You didn't see the spread shift that much with him being ruled out against Penn State. Similarly here against Maryland, I think Michigan's going to continue to run angry. They have this us against the world mentality, playing the victim, even though they're in no way the victim. But it's perception. It's everything. All right. Michigan minus 19.5. Lock it. Flush it. Let's move to the Big 12. We've got Oklahoma traveling to BYU. Oklahoma's a 24-point favorite. I think Dylan Gabriel's really putting on a show the last few weeks. BYU is showing that this Big 12 schedule is really getting to them in their first official year in the Big 12. I don't see them hanging in here. They got blown out by Iowa State last week. They give up a lot of points. Take Oklahoma minus 24.5 in a blowout. Lock it, flush it. Let's move on. We've got our fourth road favorite our road pick that I'm going to make consecutively in the noon hour. We've got Louisville minus 1.5 at Miami. I think Louisville's defense shows up in this game. It's kind of a tough spot. Miami is better at home than they are on the road, but tickets right now at Miami Louisville are going for $5. You can get these for dirt cheap, a little bit less than a little bit more than a gallon of gas. So take Louisville minus 1.5. The home field advantage is just not going to be there for the Hurricanes. Lock it, flush it. All right, Pac-12 action for the afternoon slate. We've got Arizona playing host to Utah. Arizona's a 1.5-point favorite. I love this matchup just in terms of two teams that are defensive. They run the football. They get the wins in ugly ways sometimes. A big classic Pac-12 bout here. So Utah I've been really, really high on all season long with their defense and with their rushing attack. I think Arizona being at home is going to be the difference in this one. I like Arizona minus 1.5. Lock it. Flush it to get the tight victory there against the Utes. All right, SEC action. So mid-afternoon game, we got Georgia traveling to Tennessee. Georgia's a 10-point favorite at the time of this recording. They've got Brock Bowers back. I think he'll be a little bit healthier this week than he was last week as he got involved. Carson Beck's been playing really good football lately for Georgia as well. I think Tennessee, coming off their last game with a blowout at the hands of Missouri. Granted, that was at Missouri. They lost 36-7 against the Tigers. I think Tennessee's kind of in slip mode. I think Georgia's the much stronger team here. They're going to get ahead. They're not going to relinquish any ground on their lead. They're playing they're playing for their college football playoff. If they slip up in this game, they know that being a one-loss SEC champ doesn't guarantee them this year. So Georgia, they're going to show up. They'll win by 2 touchdowns easy. Lock it, flush it. All right. I've picked a lot of road teams so far. I'm going to stick with that trend in UNC at Clemson. UNC is a 7.5-point dog. I love that half point that I'm getting there. I think Drake May keeps them in this game no matter what Clemson shows up. I think Dabo has these guys thinking that they're fighting for their lives, which they kind of are. They're more so fighting for Dabo's life. But I think Clemson's going to have a pretty strong showing. I just think UNC can keep the pace. Drake May is looking to increase his NFL stock. He could be the number 1 overall pick. So watch for him to have a good performance against a pretty stingy Clemson D. Take UNC plus 7.5. I think Clemson's probably going to win this game, but it's going to be a 2 or 3 point victory. Let's jump back to an ugly game in the Big Ten. So we've got the Hawkeyes, the weekly pick. They're hosting Illinois. Hawkeyes are a 3-point favorite. This over-under is set at 31.5. I like Iowa at home. I think this is a similar game to the Iowa-Rutgers game last week. I think Iowa wins. They keep Illinois below 10 points. Take Iowa -3. I also like the under in this game. I've picked it every single week. We keep on winning with this. Take the under, 31.5. Lock it, flush it. All right, back to the Pac-12. So we've got UCLA at USC. Neither team is ranked in this matchup, but USC is a 6-point favorite. I think USC comes into this game as a little bit of the upper hand with Caleb Williams, again, trying to show that he can bounce back and handle adversity. I think NFL scouts are going to be watching him every week from now until the end of the year. I just think USC has too much offense here. UCLA has both of their quarterbacks are banged up, and Ethan Garbers and Dante Moore. No matter who gets the bulk of the plays in this game, I think they're not going to keep up with USC, even though USC's offense is trash. I like the Trojans, -6, lock it, flush it. All right, back to the Big 12. We've got Cincinnati traveling to West Virginia. All right, so Morgantown for a home game. The couches are going to be burning after this one. All right, West Virginia is a 6.5-point favorite. Cincinnati's been sputtering. They lost for 2 months straight before winning last week. Again, I think similar to what I said about BYU, Big 12 schedules, just a bit too much for Cincinnati this year. They don't have the dudes to compete week in and week out. Take West Virginia, 6.5. The couches will be burning. They're the better team. Lock it, flush it. Let's go. We'll stick in the Big 12. We're going to go Oklahoma State. Traveling to Houston, again, similar type story. Oklahoma State's a 6.5-point favorite. They come off the embarrassing defeat last weekend, but I think Ollie Gordon and crew bounce back. Mike Gundy's going to have these guys ready. They're still trying to make a push for a Big 12 championship game. I think they get it done here. I think they win by double digits against Houston. Take Oklahoma State, -6.5. Lock it, flush it. Let's jump to the night games, all right? We're going to stick in the Big 12. A lot of Big 12 picks, a lot of good close games this week. We got Kansas State at Kansas. Kansas State comes in as a 9.5-point favorite. Will Howard has been super hot lately. This guy's heaving the ball around. I think he's showing that he's a really good fixture in the quarterback position here for KSU. I don't see Kansas being able to keep up in this game. Bean is out, so they're on their third-string quarterback. I think Kansas State's going to roll. They're going to hold Kansas without much offense. So take KSU, -9.5, lock it, flush it. All right, Pac-12 action. We got Washington traveling to Oregon State. This is one of the biggest games of the week. Washington's ranked 5th in the country. Oregon State's 10th in the country, so our sole top 10 matchup this week. Over-under set at 62.5. And I fully expect this to be a close game back and forth the whole way. I think it's a tough spot for Washington being on the road. Oregon State is very good at home this year. Damian Martinez, Oregon State's running back, you probably never heard of. He's over 1,000 yards on the season. He leads the Pac-12 in rushing. Washington struggles on the defensive side of the football. So I think that balanced attack of Oregon State is going to keep this one back and forth and keep in pace with Michael Penix Jr. and that Washington offense. I like 2 picks in this game. I'm going to say Oregon State gets the last possession and wins in front of their home crowd to break the unbeaten streak of Washington. So take Oregon State -1. It's a tight spread. It's going to be a tight game. They're going to win by 3 or 4 on last second score. Over in this game, I like too. With it being back and forth, I think the points are going to come. 62.5 is the over-under right now. Take the over, lock it, flush it. All right, SEC action for our second pick in the SEC. We have Florida at Missouri. Missouri's a 10-point favorite in this game, 10.5-point favorite actually right now. So Florida's been pretty up and down this season. They're 5-5 overall. They're not going to be able to keep up with Missouri in this game. I mentioned earlier, Missouri just put a beating on Tennessee. 36-7. I think Tennessee's much better than Florida. I see this being a similar style game. I don't know why it's only a 10.5-point spread right now. I think Missouri is going to put up some points. Florida's not going to be able to keep up. Their defense is going to get tired, and Missouri is going to win by a couple touchdowns. Lock it, flush it, Missouri minus 10.5. All right, we're going to go back to the Big 12. So we've got another big matchup with a night game, Texas at Iowa State. This could be a tough spot for Texas, who's limping into this game. They have a suspect pass defense that was exposed in that comeback TCU nearly completed against them last week. Texas ended up escaping in overtime by 3. Iowa State's a 7.5-point dog at home. I think with Texas's pass defense, I think Rocco Becht, quarterback for Iowa State, is going to be able to sling it around. I see Iowa State really putting it to the Longhorns in this game. I think Texas escapes with a slim victory yet again, but I like Iowa State at home, plus 7.5. Lock it, flush it. Last pick of the evening, another stinker in the Big Ten West. We've been betting unders in the Big Ten West all season long. This is not going to be any different. I've got Nebraska at Wisconsin. Night game. Nebraska coming in with a couple injured quarterbacks. Jeff Sims, we'll see if he plays, but he's got a hurt knee. That'll take away some of his mobility, even if he does play. Nebraska does have a really stout rushing defense, which I think has been underrated so far this year. We saw them hold Maryland to very few points in that game a couple weeks back. So Wisconsin on their side of the football, I think Braylon Allen is going to have a decent game, but he'll struggle to really break one on this Nebraska defense. Tanner Mordecai's never really lived up to expectations that he had before the season. So this offense isn't really going to get anything going, in my opinion. I think Wisconsin wins this game, but I think it's a low-scoring game. Take the under 37.5. All right, that's the 18 picks that we have at this week's slate, coming off a very successful action yet again. So at Porcelain Picks, again, we are here to bring you the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. We've got a big Saturday tomorrow. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your Saturday morning. Subscribe to our channel. Continue to get the money flowing. All right, we are out. Have a great weekend, everyone.